Welcome to Real Leaders with Roshini, the podcast with real talk, real questions, real insight, and we hope real inspiration. For real. We're here at Capitol Grill in downtown Minneapolis. My guest today is Kate Nelson. She is Editor-In-Chief of Artful Living magazine. Kate, it is so great to have you on Real Leaders.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we need to give people a little backstory on you. You're young, you're a woman, obviously, editor-in-chief of this magazine, which started in Minneapolis, but is really building its national brand. How did you find yourself in this position?
You know, I get that question a lot in informational interviews, things like that, where I have journalism students coming up and saying, okay, I want to take the path that you took. Tell me, step 1, 2, 3. So I did not have a linear path. I wound all around and I sort of followed my passion, went into the nonprofit sector for a while and found my way back to journalism. It was what I had always wanted to do, but I needed to sort of explore a few other options before I got there. And so really how I got here was that I followed sort of my passions, which sounds corny, but it's truly what led me here.
So the magazine, Artful Living, what I would say is kind of the intersection of fashion, travel, food, and style. Would you say that's close?
Yeah, we consider ourselves a lifestyle magazine, so we cover all of those different areas and elements. And, we like to really sort of push the envelope. And so, there's always unexpected content in every issue. So our readers are always sort of surprised and I hope, excited to get their next issue.
Well, I know that recently you featured Chef Andrew Zimmern, Food Channel star, and he talked about his addiction, his past life being addicted.
Yeah, I actually conducted that interview with him, and he is so open and honest about his life experiences. And I think that's so important in today's world. We live in this Instagram culture where people post beautiful imagery and really tend to show just the upside of things. And I think it's important to have sort of ambassadors like Andrew is, who showcase some of the lower sides, the downsides, the real life that they've gone through to help inspire others and to show others it's okay to have moments like this. And here's how I got through my moments like that.
So what have some of the people you've interviewed or featured in the magazine taught you about being real?
It's interesting because you go to seek out an interview with someone like Andrew Zimmern, and the understanding is if they're willing to speak with you, it means that they're willing to talk openly and honestly. Because if they're going to sit in a room with you for 45 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, it's not going to be just sort of a puff piece. It's there. You're going to really get to the heart of the matter. And so I've been really inspired by people being willing to tell their stories, because that's what I'm passionate about. Storytelling. And that doesn't necessarily mean good stories with happy endings. That means rich, true, authentic stories. And we all have a story to tell.
What is something that was maybe a setback for you, or what some might term a failure, although I don't like that term because I think you learn with everything. What was one of those examples from your life that catapulted you to something really different?
Well, when I was coming out of school, I went to the U of M for journalism. And when I was coming out of school, they were already saying that print was dead and that, there was no future for it, so go elsewhere. So I actually tangented into, that's what led me on my circuitous path. I tangented into public relations temporarily, went into the nonprofit sector, and then I found myself drawn back to journalism. And so I think despite what the outlook might be for the industry, despite the feedback that you might be getting about where your career is going, if you're driven, you will find a way to make it happen.
And Artful Living started in 2008, so you're obviously making it happen. Starting as a regional magazine, now it's really much more of a national lifestyle magazine. What are some of the challenges now as you're balancing both a digital platforms and the print, this beautiful quarterly print magazine?
Well, you just said it. We're quarterly. So those are two really different timetables. Quarterly comes out every 3 months. We have great monthly magazines here in town, obviously robust daily newspapers, and then a ton of websites that are churning out information on the hour. And so in print, we have to be really mindful that our content is really curated, really timeless, and like I said, unexpected. Because if we're going to cover, the latest restaurant opening, something that seems new in town, chances are by the time our magazine comes out, someone's already done it. So that's a really interesting challenge on the print side. And then on the digital, we have to have a totally different mindset where, we have people from around the world who see our magazine, but usually it's on a digital platform. So we can't just be catering to our reader, let's say here in Minneapolis. We need to we need to make sure our content is also tailored to people in New York, in Australia, like you just were, and that people across all of these different areas will find it interesting.
Well, I am really proud of you for taking the magazine to where it is. What is something that Kate Nelson personally wants to do for herself? What would be a next big thing for Kate?
I talked about how we all have a story to tell, and I eventually would like to write a book. It's a little bit, again, cliche. Most writers want to write a book.
And a novel, or would it be nonfiction?
It would be nonfiction. So it'd be about my life and some of the different things that I've been through. And it's a lot easier to tell someone else's story. It's a lot easier to go up to Andrew Zimmern and ask him to tell his authentic, true, good, bad, ugly story. And it's easier to do that than to tell your own. But, that's another thing that, again, I'm inspired by these people that I interview. They're out there being their real selves every minute of every day. And I think we all should be doing that.
So they always say the cover of the book is so important. So what might the title of your memoir be?
Oh, boy.
How would you sell it, Kate?
Well, I didn't know I was going to be asked this question.
This is what happens at Real Leaders. I often don't know the questions I will ask.
I think I'm going to try to, I'm going to squeak by that question saying that a publisher would probably pick the title for me.
All right, we'll table that question for a future episode. We're here at Capitol Grill in downtown Minneapolis, a place that is no stranger to cocktails, wine, beer. If Kate Nelson were a cocktail or a spirit or a wine, what would you be?
Good question. I'm personally really drawn to like a Tempranillo red wine. And one thing that I like about it is that it's approachable, but it's sort of deep and it stays on the palate and you think about it for a while. And I would hope that, after someone has an interaction with me, that they feel that way, where it was like, okay, I felt comfortable to go up and have a conversation with her. And, there were some light elements to it, some more, meaty, heavy elements. And now it's still sort of sitting on my palate. And, you walk away still thinking about it.
I like it. I like it. All right, another fun question. It probably is not going to be the curveball that what the title of your book would be. But if you had a theme song, what would it be?
I'd sort of thought about the cocktail one because I had a feeling that might come up, but the theme song. I grew up watching a lot of 90s TV shows, TGIF, Full House, Family Matters, those types of theme songs. So I think it would be an original, but it would be sort of in that genre where they cover in their 90-minute intros, they make you feel good. They take you up this curve where it's sort of like, is something bad going to happen? No, it's happy. In the end, we're happy. We go through trials, tribulations. So did I answer the question?
All right. So not necessarily a song that comes to mind, but that kind of arc.
Exactly.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, speaking of 90s sitcoms, I'm thinking of Full House and Aunt Becky. I mean, yes. that was pretty, Lori Loughlin, pretty heartbreaking for a lot of Full House fans.
Well, and myself among them. It's sort of like you grow up seeing these people and you start to sort of idolize them. And what's sort of ironic about it, or maybe coincidental, is that there was actually an episode where she and Uncle Jesse try to get their twins and do this really great kindergarten, and they actually, are sort of scheming. And so there have been lots of theories that she's been planning this from the very beginning, and she used the show to practice.
So life really does imitate art.
Exactly. Or art imitating life, hard to say.
Right. And you're straddling all those lines. Can you give us any kind of teasers on some big interviews or features you're working on for 2020?
We really try to reinvent ourselves on an ongoing basis. And so that doesn't mean, that we do a full redesign, but maybe what served us being quarterly, each new issue seems like it's a lifetime from the past ones. And so maybe what served us last year isn't quite right for this year, or maybe we just have a new direction ahead. And so I would say expect the unexpected. And, we just want to keep enriching people's lives, enlightening people, because everyone's inundated with so much information on a daily basis that if you really want to cut through the clutter, you can't be doing what everyone else is doing.
Very well said. And Kate Nelson, we look forward to the unexpected from you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Until next time, keep it real.